Hi, Jonathan Godfrey with Onsite Wastewater Professionals, and I'm here in Greensboro at Anua International, and I am with David Morgan. David, you are with GeoFlow. What's your title with GeoFlow?
I'm the engineering manager for GeoFlow.
And GeoFlow is now part of Anua.
Anua
right?
International owns GeoFlow.
Very good. And we're going to talk about air, and specifically air in drip systems. And air, if not controlled, can be a problem for drip systems, right?
That's
be a big
correct.
challenge. So
that's correct.
Traditionally, I would see return lines and supply lines with vacuum breaker valves or little air valves on them. And I guess all those years I thought that those valves were doing two things. They were breaking vacuum and they were getting rid of air, but I might not have been seeing the whole picture. We got two valves here today. This guy right here looks a lot like what I saw in a lot of these drip systems historically. So
let's talk about him first.
Okay.
You know, one of our number one concerns with subsurface drip, and actually even surface, once we push water into that tubing and go out of it, we do not want anything returned.
Right.
So when the pump shuts off, if a condition is created that would allow even a minimal suction, we will pull fluidized soil material in. So this is, give it its common name, it is a VBK, which stands for Vacuum Breaker Kinetic.
Okay.
By that, once it seals, it's sealed somewhere between 3 and 5 psi. It will seal on both air and water coming to it. And so it will not vent air past the point that it does seal. But for our drip tubing, it will be mounted higher than the tubing we're trying to protect. When the pump shuts off, water moves away, it opens up, we get air back in. It's just like a straw. If you take a straw, poke a hole in it, you can't suck it up. So that's one of our issues with air. Don't let it create a suction within that system, pump system. We actually have this is a ARV, or an air relief valve. Air relief valves are primarily designed to vent air. So if you have a pocket of air, it vents it. But if you have a pocket of air, a pocket of water, a pocket of air, this will not vent.
So that first pulse of water
closes this.
Close it up, even if there's more air in that line, it is not going to get that air out.
Closed.
Okay.
This has what's called two seats. One is a very, very small seat, so any change in the fluid level in here causes this to open up and expel that air, and then it will close back. So if your primary concern is air, you certainly want an ARV.
Because this would not
get
it done.
The ARV does an excellent job of breaking vacuum.
Okay.
So it could be used in either. The vacuum breakers are not good for venting air.
On one function right here,
One function,
this actually does both functions really
function.
well. So I understand the idea in that drip system. Once I dose it, I do not want to suck that dirty water back in that tubing because it's going to have soil particles. It's going to have things that I just can't deal with, right? We talk about drip, and one of the key reasons we use drip is to get uniform distribution over these sites.
Exactly.
If I don't get air out of my lines, let's say I've got a longer run, I don't get air out of there, I am slowing that water down while it's waiting to get the air out of that line before it can get to the emitters on the far end of that line.
Yes.
So I'm not getting the distribution I thought I was.
No, the resultant effect of that is if we're having to vent the air out of the emitters, which it will do,
Right.
but it's very slow. To get your uniformity, you want to get up to pressure as quickly as you can. You want to get the diaphragm stable and get them operating. So we want to expel the air as fast as we can and not have to push it out through the emitters themselves, because emitter one on a 200-foot line or whatever, he's emitting water and I'm still pushing air out down here. So we'll have a much higher load in the field on those closest as opposed to those farthest out. And that will shoot our uniformity, which is exactly what we're trying to do.
We put drip in.
Balance this load over the entire thing.
These are also neat valves because I can disassemble and clean that guy, right?
These valves were made to be totally serviceable in the field and rebuildable. They come apart. And when you, this is the little float that actually comes up to the seat in here and seals off. So that's what stops the air from going away. When it falls back, that opens up. That seat is removable. So if you've had sand get in your system
Okay.
for some reason, for example, and you've cut a niche in it, it's removable. The sealing O-ring is also removable. You can get a replacement ball that seals it. So this particular unit is completely serviceable and rebuildable, because you will eventually get trash in, so you need to disassemble and clean it. Some of the other units on the market, you cannot open the inner chamber up for cleaning.
Very good.
So, and it's important to check these every time you go to the site.
Very good. Learning more about air today. David Morgan with GeoFlow. David, thank you so much.
Glad to.